What is good? Let's have some fun. It's the Fundamism podcast with your host Paul J. Long and all things fun. We'll let the fun begin. Woo! What is good? It's your boy Paul J. Long here with the Fundamism podcast, coming to you where we feature guests who are creating a culture of experience not only in their own life, but creating a culture of experience for others as well. What does that mean? Well, I think that we're all looking to have a little more fun, joy, and fulfillment in life. And so we like to feature guests that are a little further along down their path than others in that quest, with hopes of potentially sharing some information that might bring that joy to you. As always, we are brought to you by our sponsors, Charlie Hustle. If you're looking to be the freshest on the block, if you're looking to be the baddest on the block, show enough, we're talking Charlie Hustle. Go to charliehustle.com, check out all their duds. If you want to be just like me, or at least a little bit better, that's where you're going to go. This week, we are featuring an amazing guest, an amazing athlete, an amazing entrepreneur, a dude that just got so much that I never even would have guessed in his little quiver. Mr. Kareem Rush, what's good, man?
Show enough.
Oh, show enough.
Show enough. I got the glow. What up, bro?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
So, Kareem, so off the block, I mean, obviously you were a star player for Mizzou.
Yes.
You played in the league. For those of you that don't know, that is the ABA.
The ABA.
No, I'm just joking.
The ABL.
The ABL sometimes. That is the NBA. We'll talk about the ABL here in a little bit. But Kareem, we like to start with one question. Every single guest on the Fundamism podcast, we start with one question. What do you do for fun, man?
What do I do for fun? I would say I am a creator, inventor at heart, and that's where I spend majority of my time thinking inside of my head on different ideas and trying to bring them to life.
So is that something that you've always been, or has that come to you over time?
I've always been a dreamer, even though basketball, is what I'm known for. I've always had different passions and talents that nobody really thought of and really knew about. But it took till after I got out of the league to really start pursuing those skills. But all along, I always, had different things that I enjoy doing. And now I'm trying to bring them to the forefront. So
what types of things do you like to dabble with? I mean, you try to create the next Chia Pet. What do you want?
I am on whatever. I'm staying in the sports realm, because that's where I have a lot of my background, a lot of my contacts and resources are there. So utilizing, those guys as ambassadors and pitch men is a way I kind of shape my business. But my first venture into the inventing space, I would say, is these floaties I'm coming out with. So backstory of those, I'm in my friend's 4th of July party last year, and his kids are on those swans. They're really popular now that, everybody in LA has one in their pool. And I'm looking at him like, man, those would be a lot cooler if they had like water guns in them. So, me being the creator and inventor, I'm like, man, I can make that happen. So I go online the next day. I actually sketched the thing first. Go online. I knew about the website Upwork. Found a freelancer over in the Netherlands, and 9 months later, here we are at the cusp of launching these pool and floaties, which are collegiate inspired. So
sure.
I got, for the chicken hawks, I got the Jayhawk, I got my mighty Mizzou Tigers, and to honor the legendary Kobe Bryant, who I had an honor to play with, I did the Black Mamba for all those Laker fans.
So, if I was a Mizzou alum and I heard that you just created a chicken hawk to hear you say it, floaty, I might feel like that's blasphemy. Was that a struggle for you?
No, it's in the family. My brother went there and did great things. So even though I got a huge disdain for, KU and everything KU, my brother did go along and do great things. And, I know KU people, buy things. So,
sure.
I still am trying to make money, so buy all you want.
So you mentioned your brother. You have an amazing heritage. Your family specifically, super athletic. And there's a lot of folks that listen to this podcast that aren't necessarily super into sports. They work in, corporate America, whatever it may be. They're not from the Kansas City area. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing and specifically the family birthright, which was that little orange ball in your hand.
A lovely orange ball. Grew up in Kansas City, the middle of 3 brothers. Jerron's 18 months older than I am. Brandon's 5 years younger than me. We grew up inner city kids, enjoyed going to the Boys and Girls Club, and that's where we first fell in love with the game. I remember vividly, following Jerron there learning the game firsthand, kind of being like trying to emulate him. And then all of a sudden, Jerron became good as shit, like really good.
Like a legend in the Kansas City area.
All-time good.
Yes.
So by the time Jerron was in 8th grade, he was the #1 player in the country.
That's crazy.
So we were traveling across the country. We had an AAU team where we were sponsored by, Tom Grant, and we had some legendary, now infamous, CMH teams that we can go into a little bit later. But had a great, youth AAU experience. Basketball was kind of the backbone of what we did. We were either on the road during summertime or in season. We were playing at Pembroke Hill, which is the most affluent school in Kansas City. The sponsor of our AAU team, Tom Grant, became a huge, fan of Jerron, and I think it was his ploy to get Jerron to go to KU eventually, but brought us over to Pembroke.
They never do that in the NCAA. What are you talking
about? But Tom's a great guy, and to this day has been a father figure to Jerron. So no ill will. Speaking of Tom, but I think selfishly he would love to. And I think it would have been great if all three of us went to KU. KU is a historically great school, but I'm happy I went to MIT. So don't let me think. Yeah, all my Mizzou fans out there, I'm not saying I would win, but I'm happy I went to Mizzou.
So how did that happen? How did you end up going to Mizzou?
My Jerron senior year, Jerron was going to go to KU. I was probably going to follow him. At that time, Jerron dealt with a lot of issues throughout his high school career, drinking, being the #1. And I believe that was the reason.
He put that pressure on his shoulders?
Yeah. He was dealing with a lot. Having the pressure of being the #1 player in the country at such a young age, and all the stuff that surrounds that AAU and, all that. Yeah, it was a lot for him to deal with. And KU came out and said they didn't want to recruit Jerron ever into their school. And I said that following year I would never go to KU.
Oh.
And so to go to MU was my, my middle.
Yeah, that's right. So, man, I didn't know that story.
Yeah, I would have ended up going to, I was recruited by UCLA, UConn, all the major schools. I decided to go to MU. Just so I can say, fuck you to KU.
Right.
And then it happened. The good thing is Quinn Snyder came down, and me and him hit it off immediately. Same birthday, so kind of the same demeanor. Smart guy. I'm happy to see where he is now. But he came in there with the Duke pedigree, said he was going to make the program mine, and came in to shine, and,
That's exactly what happened, too,
exactly
right?
What happened. Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, KU and MU here locally are historically arch rivals. I mean, that rivalry has kind of died out, which Kareem is actually trying to get back. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But so when Kareem chose Mizzou over KU, I mean, that was big news. But then my boy, little Brandon, came along. What happened?
I was salty as fuck, bro. I was salty. I was so salty.
What happened? So Brandon went to KU?
Went to KU. So my mom was pissed. But Bill Self got the job, so Roy was gone. So I was like, okay, cool. I get it. And Brandon was a home kid. He couldn't be far away, so I understood that. But I really wanted him to go to Mizzou. But I understood him not wanting to follow my shadows either, because I did the same thing. I didn't want to follow Jerron.
Sure.
So I got that. But to go to KU, I was like, man, fuck, really?
Right.
But he went on and, did his thing, got his jersey retired, won a national championship, so I can't fault him for what he does.
He's got a sweet stroke,
he's
man.
He's a fucking legend in Kansas City, which is, so I'm definitely proud of what he done.
How does his game compare to yours and Jerron's?
Early on, Jerron was known as the freak athlete because Jerron was just vicious LeBron James type of power.
I remember that.
But Brandon was kind of a mixture between me and Jerron.
Sure.
Brandon could shoot, but Brandon had crazy athleticism. But it wasn't as vicious as Jerron. But Brandon can, between the legs, touch the top of the backboard, all kind of shit when he was young. Tore his knee up and kind of limited that. But
right.
Brandon is a fucking survivor. Tore his knee up twice and still able to pull out a 10-year career and reshape his game to become a knockdown shooter.
Who's he with now?
He's out right now. He played last year in Portland for 10 days.
That's
so he's looking to go to Croatia. He got a standing off role there, but he's still looking. He looks great.
He was with the Warriors 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
That's right.
He won championship in 2015.
Sure. So. Now, you played with the Lakers for a hot minute.
Yep. Got drafted by them.
Yeah.
Played my first 3 years there.
And you got to play with a legend.
Play with all the legends.
You mentioned, okay, let's talk about him.
I played with all the legends. I played with multiple. Obviously one, Phil. Phil was a great guy. I remember vividly coming in. He started burning that sage and all that weird shit. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? But now,
you seem like a pretty spiritual guy.
But back then, no. I'm saying you met me 15 years ago. I'm a completely different person.
Okay, all right.
I'm an introvert, so I was like, man, what the fuck, quiet. But like I said, looking back now, Phil still a great guy. Kind of like the Uncle Phil.
Sure. Crazy
Cole,
Uncle Phil.
Yeah, crazy Uncle Phil. Smoking weed, doing like hippie shit. Uncle Phil. Kobe at the time, shit, at the height of his powers, just fucking tough, like hard as nails, work hard. As a rookie, I'm thinking I'm coming in the gym early, get some shots up. This motherfucker out in the court like 4 hours before I was, just out there doing footwork.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there like, okay, now I know what this is, and how you really need to train yourself to be the best.
Was anybody else doing it like him?
No.
Even after seeing him?
Oh, you got to be a maniac.
Okay.
To post. It was times where they used to post his workouts in the press, and it's insane. Now I put work in like that, but to do that consistently over your career, you can see how it can benefit him and where he got to where. He has talent, but to have that work ethic too, put him over the top.
Sure.
So, Shaq, Kobe. Shaq was the big brother, funny as shit. I remember one story, he was late to practice, so he just ran out there butt ass naked with just his tennis shoes on. I'm sorry, man, the fucking chicken truck hit me on the highway. Fucking feathers everywhere, I'm late. So he would do dumb shit like that. And
big Aristotle.
Yeah, and he was big into music, so back when the Nextales were out, we used to have ringtone battles in the back of the bus and hear rap and not sing. So everybody, even back then, knew I was a singer.
Right.
It was about me really kind of pursuing it and doing it well.
So. And then Shaq would come in. Do you want me to shoot it? No. Do you want me to pass it? No.
He took that shit like he's on the plane. He has little mixing joints.
Yes.
So he was into it, like beats and all that. Like, he was serious.
I remember when that song came out with the Fushnikins, him in it, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that he had it like that. Yeah, Shaq is hilarious, though.
Hilarious.
So there's so many questions that I want to ask you. So going back to playing with Kobe, what's the craziest? So how did you interact? Because I heard that he's just. So there's all different types of leaders, right?
Yeah.
You got those folks that just lead by example. The Eagles, as we kind of talked about last night, if you recall, folks that just do the dang thing. They got a plan and they make it happen. And you watch them and they're maniacs and you're like, man, how do I replicate that? Then you got other folks that are more vocal leaders and they'll tell you what you need to do and where you need to be. What was Kobe?
Kobe was definitely ego. He was a Jordan clone, so he modeled a lot of his mannerisms after Jordan. So he was hard on people. I think he definitely respected me because I came in with the mindset. I'm a scorer. I still had the Missouri mindset. So, me and him were at it. And like I said, when I got my opportunity to play, I played well. So he respected me, in that sense. So to this day, we still cool. We still talk. Lakers do a great job of bringing guys back. So we still get to interact with all those former guys, quite a bit. So. But playing with Shaq was different. Shaq was just a fucking fun guy and just a dominant machine.
Dominant.
It wasn't like leadership. It's like, yeah, just give me the ball and I'm gonna do what I need to do.
Right.
So I'm fucking dominant.
So when he first came out, that's when fantasy basketball started blowing up. And I remember anybody that drafted Shaq, you're putting up 100 fantasy points a game because he's, 20 rebounds, 30 points.
Just have both of them in their primes. I saw that. I saw Kobe score 49 straight games. Like, what?
That's crazy.
Like, what? I saw Shaq should have averaged. Like, when we lost in the finals, I'm mad about this. We should have beat Detroit, but they had a great team. Shaq should have averaged 50 that year, but Kobe won the MVP.
Was that with Ben Wallace and all that?
Ben Wallace, that whole squad. Mm-hmm. And then that's when we had the 4 Hall of Famers. We had Gary and Carl.
Yeah.
So if Carl didn't get hurt, we probably would have beat them. But I thought that team was going to come back the following year. We'd have been great for a few years. We had a nice run, but that after we lost in the finals, we all sitting in the lobby or in the banquet hall eating, and then Kobe's like, man, I ain't playing with that motherfucker next year. 2 months later, the whole team breaks up.
Really?
Fuck. Yeah.
So what drove that?
He wanted his own team.
Oh, okay. He just didn't like sharing.
At the point where, okay, we won 3.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can do it without you.
Okay.
And it was that was the breaking point. See, we would have won that finals. We probably would have played. That team would stuck together because this was at the end of that. We have end of the year meetings. So Phil brought me in. It's like, I'm gonna start you and Kobe at the 2-3 next year.
Right.
So I'm sitting here like, oh fuck. I'm like, yeah,
that's awesome.
This
right.
is about to be the business.
Right.
So I'm going in summer geeked up, working my ass off, and then shit, the whole team, flips. Rudy T comes in, brings in a whole another regime. They brought in Lamar Odom. Kareem Rush, all guys from Miami, and Rudy had a specific way he coached. So you play behind Kobe. So behind Kobe's no minutes.
Right.
So that's when I just requested to be traded. And then less than a year later, Rudy quits the job. Phil comes back. If I would have just waited out, I probably would have been a lifelong Laker.
So what happened? What happened when you asked to be traded? Where'd you end up going?
I ended up going to Charlotte.
Okay.
Bobcats, the expansion team.
Yep.
So initially, I was supposed to, and I think there was a middle finger to me because I requested the trade. Initially, I was supposed to go to Denver, which my boy Josh Kroenke at the time owned the team.
Yeah,
so
right.
I was like, this is going to be sweet. I was going to go to New Jersey because they didn't have a 2. So this is prior to Vince coming. And I was still I had a name. I played well in the finals, hit those 6 threes. So I was, I had an opportunity to start somewhere.
Sure.
So last minute, Bernie Bickerstaff from the Bobcats calls Mitch and offers the same two second-round picks for me. And they figured because the Bobcats expansion team is going to be a higher pick. So they ship me to Charlotte.
Dang.
I go from the best team in the world to the fucking expansion team. I go from packed arenas everywhere we go, fucking traveling like the Beatles, to nobody at the games. Talk about being depressed.
So let's talk about that.
Oh, my God.
So what did you do? So in that moment, how long, first of all, did you play for the Bobcats?
I played there 2 years.
Okay.
And I had like my most career-defining black mark with the Bobcats. I got waived like 9 games to go. It was basically Bernie saying, fuck you.
Because you weren't, because why?
He said I wasn't committed to the team and all kinds of things. And Bernie had egos, and I was a young guy, so
Sure.
I was coming from. So I probably did some shit to rub him the wrong way. But it was like no intervention. It was just like a fuck you, get out of here type of situation.
Right.
So it created kind of a black mark on my name for a while.
But for you specifically, like if you say that you were going through challenges or depression or whatever, maybe going from, the coup de grace, the best team ever, right,
Yeah.
to now the worst, right, the worst team ever because they're brand new. So obviously you're going through it. So at which point can you see in retrospect that maybe you weren't, giving in your all, or maybe you were carrying yourself a certain way?
Absolutely. Like I said before, now this person you see down, I was definitely introverted, and I come into practice, but I wouldn't stay after. I wouldn't do extra shit.
Right.
So I think that definitely rubbed him the wrong way. And at the time, he was both head coach and the GM. So normally you have a buffer between the two, so you can have you can't piss both of them off.
Right.
So you go talk to your GM, coach calms the coach down. But Bernie was like, I'm both, so fuck you, get out of here.
Right, exactly.
And he waved me with 9 games to go. They weren't gonna make the playoffs. He was basically saying, fuck you, you need to get out of here. You're a bad seed.
Right.
And I was like, man, what? And I was best friends with his son at the time. So it was fucked up, actually.
So, I find that typically, and we had this conversation yesterday, typically people talk about, the same stuff. I'm certain, 100% certain you get tired of people talking to you about basketball.
Oh, I love it.
Do you really?
That's what I know most.
I know, but the same token, like, you're so deeper than that, so much deeper than that. And
that makes people feel comfortable initially to kind of open up the gates. You can talk basketball, and then the conversation kind of steers to different things.
Right. But wasn't it you that was saying to me, like, if you ever meet a celebrity or something like that, ask them something, weren't you telling me that? Like, ask them something completely outside of the realm of what because they're going to remember that, or they'll force them to think or whatever maybe?
I mean, I just approach people, what's up, man?
Right.
I never start off with, like, what do you do?
Sure.
It's more about a vibe.
Yeah. So
usually it involves smoking.
Speaking of which, you just dropped so you are a singer.
I am a singer.
Actually, before we get there, so we're in this gym, beautiful gym, first of all. This is your boy Luther's gym, right? What is it? What's it called?
TFW.
TFW.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like some high-intensity training, but also, like, is there some group ledge sessions?
Lessons, basketball, weight training, do a little bit of everything here.
Kareem was getting his mind right before we got on this podcast. He was doing some bench presses over there.
Getting right.
But, I came here, I didn't tell you this. I came here with 2 goals in mind. To record this podcast and to break some ankles, and this podcast ain't gonna last very long.
No, it ain't. Hey, we out here ready. You can give him Luther. He's heavy, so you saw him. He big body Chevy over there, so you can cross him for sure.
So you play with Shaq, you play with Kobe, you mentioned Michael Jordan. So if you get this question right, I promise you that I will not drown you in the raindrops that I will throw down on this court right here. Who's the greatest basketball player of all time? At the same time, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and we'll say who it is. Okay,
yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Jordan.
Jackie Moon. Oh dang!
Jackie Moon's close second.
Jackie Moon, ELE baby. So I'm sporting the ELE right now. The Jackie Moon, of course, one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
Basketball minds.
Basketball minds. That's right. Yes, he shot, of course, Grady style. But the reason why I dress like this is because I feel like you and I connect. Like I said, at a deeper level, and specifically over people and being a creator and understanding the power that everybody holds. And you were telling me yesterday that your basketball foundation, right, growing up and practicing and throwing your heart and soul into this game, prepared you for everything that was to come after this game. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of want to talk about that progression. And you had mentioned that you retired from basketball, you got waived, and then you didn't know what to do. So what happened? What was that process like?
I got hurt, tore my knee up, so I was dealing with an ACL microfracture. So I'm looking at about 18 months before I really can get back on the court. Shitty part is I was on a 1-year deal. The Clippers let me go right after the surgery, so I'm basically on my own for rehab, which, that's not going to work.
Sure.
We have the day-to-day checkups with the medical staff there, so I'm at a disadvantage already kind of coming back from this, and it's already a serious injury. So I'm on my couch, fucking in the CPM machine, 6 hours a day, getting my knee cranked. And I'm like, man, shit, I'm bored out of my mind. I mean, I got money saved up, so I'm not worried about that. But I'm thinking about, okay, what I'm going to do, either go back to school, get my degree, but it's my friend, I'm out in L.A., still got a pretty big name right there. So let me try this music shit. You know, I got a year to kind of get ripe. So my homegirl at the time, Rachel, she introduced me to these guys who work at Interscope. So they come together.
When you say your homegirl, like what do you mean?
Like my homegirl,
like you did
friend.
not date?
We did not date.
All right.
Yeah. She dated Shaq.
Oh, for real?
So my homegirl, she introduced me to these guys, Mike Cole, who worked at Interscope, and we came together. He's like, okay, well, let's see what you can do. So they heard me saying, hey, all right, let's go in and record a demo. So we found 4 songs that somebody write for me, and I record "Hold You Down." And it's like, oh shit, this is actually nice. Let's cut this and put this out. So there starts my music career. So I'm like, shit, okay, let's push this singing shit. So I'm in rehab, and at night I'm in the fucking studio singing with a bum leg on a stool, recording music, and playing it for all the Clippers and all this shit. So guys know, like, yo, you actually trying to do this R&B shit?
Right?
Like, it's crazy. So a year into it, I'm on BET, I'm on touring Monique's show, I'm doing shows, but it costs a lot of money to break an artist, and at the time, having that NBA background, people try to take advantage of you.
Sure.
And they definitely did. Spent a lot of money and really turned me off of it.
Right.
So I was always, okay, man, situation comes about where, I find a talent manager, somebody who believes in me, then I get back into music.
Right.
But to me, to put more money into it, I'm not going to do it. In the meantime, I'm always going to be recording, releasing stuff the way I know how until that opportunity comes. But that's why I've always envisioned on doing The Voice, kind of having that be a good platform for me.
This is The Voice.
Exactly. So I'm going to finally do that this year.
I hit that high C.
That wasn't bad.
Hey, I appreciate you saying that, but you're lying.
So yeah, that was my first venture outside of, sports. And, it was something that I could hang my hat on, because I said not being a basketball player, I was kind of lost. So a lot of people knew that I can sing. So it was kind of my first deal that I felt comfortable doing.
Sure.
And so I started that, and then once I did that, if you can sing in front of 19,000 people, shit, you can try anything else after that.
Right.
So, since then, if I got an idea, fuck it, let's put it together.
So there's like a million different stories that we've discussed in the probably 3 hours that we've hung out since I met you. So I cannot wait to kind of unravel these threads. So first of all, you mentioned a lot of people took advantage of you or tried to, right?
Yeah.
I got to imagine, somebody being in your shoes. I've had this conversation with Danny Duffy of the Royals before. Like when you're at the top of your game and you're in the limelight, right? And you're a star basketball player, star football player, star baseball player, maybe you're CEO of a major organization, whatever it may be. Oftentimes there's people out there that you can't necessarily tell, do they care about you because you're Kareem, or do they care about you because they see that you're the next big thing and they're trying to get, they're trying to raid the gravy train?
Yeah, you really don't know until they maybe take it away.
Sure.
You really see it. And I really saw a lot of people.
Did you really?
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm not cool with a lot of people to this day. I mean, not that they disappeared, just like, I don't think it's malicious.
Sure.
I leave LA, you hang around, you're not out as much anymore, so people just tend to, fade away.
Right.
So, yeah, you definitely deal with that.
So they say that you become, and not to be cliche, you become the average of the 7 people closest to you. So do you find that as your circle has changed, because I know that you're trying to do a lot more, you're trying to be a businessman, right? You're trying to be a successful entrepreneur. So have you found that your circle has changed so much so that you're hanging around folks that are going to lift you up and push
absolutely.
you?
I hang around with all businessmen and acquaintances. I have very few friends that I would say, like close friends like that.
Sure.
Now just, people who I'm trying to, do deals with.
Right.
And like I said, my main focus right now is my business. Taking care of my little girls, making sure that they're straight. So that's it.
I should have brought a notebook so I could write down all my thoughts because we talked about girls, we talked about your new song that I want to ask you about, talk about mindset. I want to shift gears just a little bit and talk about the basketball lessons that you learned. Yeah. And so what I admire about you is you have this goal, and to hear you say it, it's not really a goal. It's an inevitable outcome of being on The Voice, right? Yeah. And so you're also dabbling right now. You have an idea of starting a prep school or a foundation, right? And we could talk about all of this stuff. But when I asked you the other day, I said, hey, how confident are you that you're going to be on The Voice? Without skipping it, 100%.
100%.
I said, okay, take a step back. How confident are you that this foundation is going to be? 100%. And I'm like, Kareem, there's got to be some margin for error in there someplace. And you went on to say, no, I am 100% confident it's going to happen, and here's why. Today, you said a little bit more as to why that mindset is. You specifically said the number of NBA players that have ever been.
Yep.
What is that?
It's like 4,000 in history of the NBA, and I've been one of those. So when people say, oh, it's a 1 in a million shot. Like, I've done that.
Yes.
So I understand what it takes. I know the mindset of getting to the pinnacle of any situation. There's not a lot of guys that play in the NBA. So
Right.
the same skills, the same lessons, the same mindset translate to everything else I do. And I might not be, like I said, when I start, I might not be the best at the start, but I'm gonna work my ass off. I'm gonna get around people who know what they're doing and learn from them. I've learned from the best coaches, so I can learn from the best leaders and the best businessmen as well. So that's why I'm surrounding myself with, beating guys like Chase, my guys like Ziggy, in different ventures and different sectors. I'm learning all from them and applying it to my business.
That's smart. So, there's leaders in your life that you look up to and you see everything that they're doing and you're like, yep, that's what I want to be, or that's what I want to emulate, right? But there's also folks in your life that you can learn from doing everything that you don't want to be or don't want to become. Do you have anybody like that in your life that you've learned a lot from in terms of maybe not necessarily being the specific role model that you wanted to live your life as?
I mean, I think the biggest void in my life has been a father figure, and I've been searching for that. And I think I
got you, fam. Why didn't you ask?
All my life, like my father was never there, and I've been on my own so long, especially playing basketball. My mom worked, so me and Jerron were off doing our own deal. So I had to kind of force to, grow up, fairly early. So not having that father, that mentor, that guy to see you through the mistakes in life, definitely hurt. But it helped me become a better father to my girls, and understanding, not being there in an absence and what that creates. So I'm more than ever focused on, getting them, to where they need to be and being healthy, little girls. So I would definitely say not having a father who just recently passed, which is crazy to see him and see him like that. It was wild, but yeah. Definitely.
Well, and so that's another thing. Obviously, I want to commend you on. I mean, the first day I met you opened up about that, and obviously we have that in common. My father passed away at the age of 60, and he was one of those individuals. He was an addict, and he struggled his whole life, and he always made excuses as to why he wasn't. Great dude. Yeah. Only person that didn't know how amazing he was him, right? And so, oftentimes I would look at him and I would say to myself, I could be a better version of all his amazingness. Mm-hmm. Like I could take his amazing skill set that he gave me. Like, I'm gregarious and fun-loving, and I can connect with people because of my father. Like, he gave me that. The same token, he gave me the ability not to want to, try hydrocodone and be on, all the excuses in life. Yeah. So I admire the fact that your father just recently passed away, and you literally, when you met, you said, bro, I'm planning a funeral, which is actually this Saturday. And so I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart being on this podcast and starting this relationship, wherever it is to take us, knowing that you're going through all that. It means a lot to me.
I appreciate that.
So you have two girls. How old are they?
They're 13 and 10, Maeve and Kaylin.
Okay, and you wrote a song for these two beautiful girls.
I did.
What's it called?
It's called My Girls. So I dealt with an issue with my baby mom. It was a custody battle a lot of guys go through. When I first got the league, it was a financial deal. So unfortunately, but we're on better terms now. So, but those 2 years were definitely tough. To be away from them. But yeah, they're everything. They're the reason why I get up. They're the reason why I'm pushing so hard to get these things up and running so I can provide them the life that they deserve.
Now, if you had actually shared this with me via, I know you're on iTunes and Spotify and all that jazz. What is your Renaissance Man? Help me.
The rebirth of the Renaissance.
The rebirth of the Renaissance Man.
Of the Renaissance Man.
And so what's funny about that, so you got My Girls on there, which is fire. Love that song, specifically because it has meaning. And so, my concept is, it's called Fundamism, the fundamentals of a fun and optimistic lifestyle. And oftentimes when I'm up in front of groups, I say, hey, by a show of hands, who here loves music? Everybody always raises their hand, right? And so then I'll say, who here listens to music with purpose? Now, that's very different.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, anybody could turn on the radio and whatever happens, right? But it takes a very, very specific mindset to say, I want to feel emotion today. I want to feel connected to my daughters. I want to feel sadness. I want to feel happiness, whatever it may be. There's always a song out there that can evoke that emotion. Mm-hmm. So what's amazing is you shared your album, and I was going to officiate my first ever wedding. And so I'm listening to it on the way down there by myself for the rehearsal dinner. So I hear the song, My Girls, beautiful song. Obviously, any father can relate to that. Then I Love Kush comes on.
I Love Kush.
And so for our listeners that don't know, what is hey, Rob, our cameraman, do you know what Kush is? Oh, it's the ganj, he says.
Yes.
So so is that something that you wrote that after the league?
I wrote it, after the league. But now, I mean, the league got to pass that shit. Come on, man, it's ridiculous. Everybody smoked. I think we smoked all the time my second year. That's why we went to the finals, because I think not having that gives guys, they out longer, they going out drinking.
Yes.
If you smoked, we all came in, smoked, ate, go out to dinner as a team, boom, we chilling. But now you want to go to the club, do all that shit, drink, it makes guys alcoholics. So
Sure.
I think the league should, now that all the states are passing legally, it's only a matter of time. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the green.
So you wrote a song called "I Love Kush."
Wrote a song about it.
And you wrote a song about it. Want to hear? Here you go.
Here you go. I love Kush.
Yes. And so you just posted the video on, and actually I got a little sneak peek, and it's fire. Like, I really enjoy the video. And specifically, regardless of whether you're into that stuff or not, I love the creative aspect of what you're doing. I love the creative aspect of the video and how it's kind of abstract a little bit. Like, it's really cool.
We're just
really,
walking down, and we just at my apartment. Let's shoot a video.
Yeah.
So we live right down the street. At the time, I lived down the street from Staples, so they shooting in front of the Lakers. See, they
Sure.
kick us out. So we went down there, smoking. They kicked us out eventually, but we got the shot we needed.
So then the song that I really connected with, what was amazing to me is your album kind of has, I know that you have an R&B background and you really enjoy that. And I said, are you into hip hop and rap? And you said, yeah, but not much. You're more like sexy time music all the time. Like, you're like, hey, Kareem, can you turn that stuff off? Like, I'm just trying to chill, man. But anyway, so I hear your album, and there's some like pop undertones.
I got some pop, yeah.
And like specifically, there's a really fast-paced song, and I don't know what it's called, but really upbeat.
It's called, it's probably, This Time Is Now.
Yes.
This time is now.
Yep. But that wasn't the song. The song that hit me was Be Free.
Be Free.
So the story behind Be Free is...
It's my baby mom. It's just me kind of...
I figured that's what it was.
That's her, yeah.
And so the message was kind of like, you're for somebody, but you're not for me, so be free.
Yeah, I hope you understand. Like, we still can be cool. I love you, but it's just not...
Hey, did I just get the lyrics right?
Yeah.
I mean, kinda.
Kinda, yeah.
I've heard it like 3 times.
Yeah, be free.
But that song is amazing, and it really connected. And what's funny about that is I put it on my Sexy Time playlist, and so my wife and I were listening to the album or my playlist recently, and that song comes on, and it's really sultry and beautiful, and your voice is fire. Like, I couldn't see it.
Yeah,
right?
You don't see it.
But when I heard that, I was like, I really connected with it. And what I really connected with are the horns and the vocals. And then I love the hook, obviously. But when those horns come in, like, I love stuff like that. Violins, horns, piano keys. Anytime I hear anything like that people can add into a soundtrack or something musical, sounds beautiful to me. Mm-hmm. So how does that work? Do you write a song and then you find a beat? Or you find the beat, or you purchase the beat, or you create the beat, and then you write the song?
That whole entire album was done by me and my boy Scotty. Shout out to Scotty. We recording.
What's good, Scotty?
Scotty, we recording this week. I see you in Chicago next week, bro. But yeah, talented guy to Chicago. Me and him were working together for a number of years, and we was in LA. We was like, man, let's put together a project for your birthday. So we spent 3 weeks in LA. He did all the production. We co-wrote the majority of the songs, and then we did it in my apartment and released it.
You did that in your apartment?
In 3 weeks.
That's crazy. So, The Voice.
The Voice.
What's the possibility of you being on The Voice,
100%.
Kareem? Exactly, it is.
See, I actually auditioned for it like 2 years ago, but I was bullshitting. It was in LA. They always send me emails for auditions. So I was like, let me go up here.
They send you emails proactively.
Yeah, they send you emails. They send you open nights.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was like, let me try this out. So I signed up for it, went up there, and
what'd you sing?
I sang Neo, So Sick.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And my voice just wasn't strong enough. It's like, you got a great tone, just keep working on your voice. And then I stayed and heard some other artists. I was like, okay, yeah, I really got to focus on it. So I think, as much as I love singing, I would be honest, I haven't put the effort that I need to. So vocal coaching, all that shit, I just think I'm good enough to do it.
Yeah.
So if I actually put forth that
it's
effort.
Like you with the Charlotte Bobcats.
Exactly. So I did that for a number of years. Like, oh man, because I was successful with that first song. I was like, man, I can just kind of do this.
Yes.
My songs are dope. This shit gonna pop off.
Right.
But it didn't happen that way.
Sure.
So fast forward to now. I've been really, training my voice, and I believe, like I said, the platform for the voice, be a great thing for me.
Yes.
They had a football guy on there last year, so the backstory, even if I don't make it all the way, I think I can be, I know I can win it.
Sure.
But it'd be a good visibility for me.
So when you think about your voice 2 years ago from where it is today, because I know that you actually shared with me a vocal coach app that you use every single day.
Every day.
And so if you were to compare your voice today to that voice 2 years ago, you would say you're light years
Way
ahead?
Better. Yeah, way better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. You know what song you're going to sing at your track? You don't have to let us know.
I don't know yet. I don't know. Some hard, some Sam Smith, some Maxwell, some with a nice falsetto.
I told you this woman's work is like my favorite, Max, and that's all falsetto.
Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. His way, he goes so high.
He's cold. Him, JT, Sam Smith, Robin Thicke are guys I really listen to, and I sing their songs daily to kind of practice.
Sure.
So when I'm singing them crispy, that's when I know I'm ready.
Right. We were texting some Shy the other day.
Yeah.
Do-do-do, do-do-do.
Ooh, ba-de-doo. The very first time that I saw your brown eyes, and your lips said hello, and I said hi. I knew right then you were the one, but I was caught up in physical attraction. But to my satisfaction, baby, you were more than just a friend.
Here it comes.
And if I
Ever fall
in love again, I will be sure that the lady is a friend. And if I
ever fall
in love so true, I will be sure that the lady just like you. Oh,
my man, that's fire. We also hooked up on the Gerald Levert,
Yeah.
some Casanova.
I was singing to my mom. Mom, what you know about that song?
I ain't not your Casanova, 'cause me and Romeo ain't never been friends. Can't you see how much I really love you? And I said to you time and time again, oh, Casanova.
So you have an album that you're working on currently?
The Maestro is on the works. It's done. 8 songs completed. I got 4 covers. I did Sam Smith's Pray. I did The Weeknd's Reminder. I did Location by Khaled. And I'm working on what? I got to do it Maxwell. Pretty Wings.
Oh, that's a good one. What's your favorite song to cover?
Sam Smith, Stay With Me. I did that on TMZ.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Live on TMZ.
Like what? It's like coming out of someplace, or
Yeah, no. I did an interview in my apartment. It's on live because they saw me outside of the Parlor, this spot in LA. I was like, yeah, man, I'm like Maxwell and Tim. I got a new album coming out. So TMZ called me like, yo, you do an interview with us,
Right.
And so they called me in my apartment. I sang Sam Smith live on TMZ now. So.
Oh my God. So for folks listening, that oftentimes we've been talking a lot about being a speaker and like what that looks like and how to tell stories. And what I found historically is there's a lot of folks, they'll book a motivational speaker, right? And specifically like athletes are, I mean, if you're a former athlete, like you're in. People will specifically say, we want a former athlete and that's it. So your boy's got nothing, right? But my point is, oftentimes everybody's talking about their experience as an athlete, but there's so much more, underlying that goes into that. So if you think about your story, the life lessons that you've gone through, what's been like the most, and this is probably really challenging, I'm sure, but if you had to identify like one light bulb moment for you where you just finally figured it out and you got it down, what was it? And not to say that you haven't figured out, but
I mean, that's a tough one. It's been a couple of those moments. I guess my sophomore year in Mizzou, I was like, yeah, I'm going to the NBA. So that changed my whole mindset. So, okay, these are going to be financial.
Well, why did you? What was it about your sophomore year? You just knew that you were better than everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I was averaging 21-7. I was. They had me slotted like a top 5 pick the following year. So I came in my junior year thinking I'm just going to win National Player of the Year. So I knew at that time I was going to be an NBA player, which at that time I was like, okay, that's the pinnacle of everything.
Right.
I made it. Shit, I'm going to be in the league.
Right.
So that was it. And then afterwards, when I got out of the league and retired and been done that, I guess I haven't had that moment yet. I'm still working towards that.
Yep. And I think the more, we kind of talked about, you asked me, what's my mentoring program? Like, who do I seek out for mentoring, right? And so we did like a little brainstorming session. What I love about that stuff is like when you get in a room and you just start throwing out all the stuff that you're working on and the specific desired outcomes, and you start tying it all together and you see how either A, you're stretching yourself too thin, or B, you're not putting as much work as you need to be in, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's when those moments happen more often. So the reason why I brought this up is because oftentimes when folks book a celebrity speaker or someone that climbed Mount Kilimanjaro or an individual that won a gold medal, whatever it may be, a lot of audience members will walk away from that and they'll say, damn, Kareem, that was it. But I'm not Kareem. Like, yeah. I was never a professional athlete. I was never a pinnacle of, my craft at anything. And so for you, you're so much more than a basketball player. What advice would you give to individuals that are trying to find their fun?
I mean, find a passion and go at it with all you got. I mean, fuck what everybody's saying, what everybody think. There's been plenty of people who laughed at me when I first said I was going to be a singer. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever, you just NBA, you just play basketball.
Right.
When I'm inventing stuff, I've asked people who I'm close to, who I've, thought would have my back, would you help me kind of push this? What do you think about this invention? And people have, turned their back on me on a lot of different things I've invented. So, I mean, what I've learned mostly about myself is that I'm a fighter, I fucking work hard, and I'm passionate about what I do. And I'm going to make it happen regardless.
I could tell. Your energy is contagious, my friend. It's been amazing to be around you. Couple things in closing. If somebody wants to learn more about you, your music, your inventions, what do they do? Where they go?
Water Warriors will be available soon, so that website will drop. Music, K-Rush Music. I have my website, the K-Rush Experience, which will kind of, and then my main website, the Rush Creative, which will have all my projects in one hub.
Yep, and I know that you got a pretty fire IG that you post regularly on. Yeah. What's that?
Kareem Rush. I got the Gentleman brand is my lifestyle brand, so you want to see some fly shit for guys, or everything else aesthetically pleasing, goes to the gentlemanbrand.com, gbclub.com actually. So yeah, a lot of things, man. I'm out here working.
You had mentioned in closing that, if you got a passion, pursue it. Forget what everybody else thinks. And when we were talking, and I'm sorry to continue to reference this, but we talked about so much. One of my favorite quotes is, if you wish to see the truth and hold no opinion for or against. And so often we have this preconceived notion that we're, going to succeed or we're going to fail or somebody's going to judge us or whatever it may be. And it's significantly limiting in whatever it is that you want to do. And so I was thinking about, because you talked about the Lakers last night, and I was thinking about, man, if I ever got an opportunity to speak to a professional team, what would that conversation look like? And so, there's a lot of role players. There's a lot of folks like LeBron. He's the cap,
yeah,
right?
He needs a role player. They're terrible right now.
Yeah, well, that's true. They got a W last night, though.
They did.
But nevertheless, people see themselves as, I asked you what type of player you are. You said, I'm a scorer, I'm a shooter, right? Mm-hmm. If you wish to see the truth and hold no opinion for or against, I wonder if folks get their role defined, and as a result, they don't stretch themselves in their areas of opportunity to potentially expand their game. Would you say that that's a possibility?
Absolutely. Yeah, people get comfortable with what they do, and people are fearful of taking chances.
And I think that equates not only into basketball, but obviously business, your personal life, whatever it may be. Ultimately, if you have an idea of how something's going to go, then the probability of it happening the way that you envision it goes up. Yeah. So try to remove yourself from judgment, have a good time, gravitate towards the things that give you strength, live your Fundamism, and have a great time doing it. Am I right?
That's right.
Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Kareem, I want to say thank you very much for being on the podcast. You're a great dude with a lot of big things. We can't wait to cheer you on The Voice. I know I'm going to call and vote.
Ooh.
Hey, he's going to be like the dude in the number four. I vote for number 4. Follow our boy Kareem Rush on all things Instagram, all things website related. Of course, those links are referenced previously. Thank you very much for supporting the Fundamism podcast. We'll be back to you next week to talk more things fun, joy, and fulfillment related. Go out, have some fun, and shower others with some kindness today.